Uh, Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening at 7:30, 7:45 Dubai time. And we're going to have an exciting opportunity to share a thrill discussion with the car racing world presented by Miguel and his manager. And while we're waiting on the car race driver, he's coming slow on a turtle. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have this discussion with Andre to be able to go through, and let's introduce himself. Tell us a little bit about the car racing world and why it's important to any business, to every business, to every community to promote itself. And thank you, Andre, to join us this evening. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good. My name is Andries Moed. I'm from the Netherlands. I have a small company in motorsport next to recruitment of professionals for teams and companies we work for. We also manage drivers. Miguel, who will join us in a few minutes, is one of the people that we manage. And managing drivers is very, let's say, nice to do, but also challenging. What we see in general is that racing is a very expensive sport. I mean, you need a lot of money to get a car, to have a team, to have a track. If you play football, then you need I always say, a ball, a shirt, and a pair of shoes and some grass, and you can do what you want. Racing is different. Talented people is what we manage. Very strange to say, but most talented people are very good drivers, but not the best funded drivers. That is where we come in. We try to find funding for the drivers that we manage. And therefore, we speak to a lot of companies who want to have exposure, let's say in motorsport, in this case, European-wide or worldwide, depending on what series the driver that we manage is in. And interesting for, I think, a lot of companies to be in the world of motorsport. The last 1.5 years, it's completely different than before, obviously, because of COVID, we can't invite people on the paddock like we normally do. But what we normally do before COVID is that if we have partners who works with us, then we invite them over to the paddock so that they can see from the inside how a team works, how the drivers work with the team, how the whole weekend or whole structure is being set up. Now at the moment it's difficult. I can tell you that it's difficult because we cannot allow people on the track. Even me, I'm not allowed sometimes on track. Because I'm not a racer, so next to managing the people that I'm working with, I have nothing to do there, so I'm forbidden. So I'm a little bit more stuck in the office than what I did before. But to come back to why it is important for companies to get the exposure that they want, it's all about marketing. I mean, marketing is very important in the world of motorsport. What we see in general is that companies who are located in the UK, for example, or in Dubai, or any part of the world, if they want to be in a European series, exposure in a lot of countries, most series that we work in are in 5, 6, 7, 8 countries racing. So if you have a car with names on it or whatever, then you can have that exposure in all these countries. Marketing is not only a sticker on the car, I always say. Marketing is much more than that. It's the social media, which is very important at the moment, because the driver is on social media. We as a company are on social media. The team is on social media. The races or the organization who host the event is on social media. So that has a big influence the last 15, 20 years compared to, let's say, the old days. In the old days, it was difficult. So you need all the exposure on track and in advertisement, in commercials on TV or whatever. Now we can do much more. So we can give much more exposure to companies who are working with us. And that is, I think, a big benefit compared to the old days where I come from. So now it is important that also our drivers are active on social media. So the drivers we work with have a lot of followers. Even my company has some followers. I don't know exactly how much, but I'm not a social media expert. So, uh, but what we see is that the exposure that we can give to partners that we work with is higher than ever because social media is worldwide. So it doesn't matter if you're in the Netherlands like me, or in Germany, or in Portugal like Miguel is, or in Dubai. You can have exposure all around the world for a product that you wish to sell in a certain part of the world. Or so that is important. And what we see is that the partners that we are working with are very eager to be in this motorsport industry. It is not only technical partners that we work with. Of course, the racing industry is in general a very technical sport. But if you would want to sell shampoo or whatever you want to sell, as long as you are involved in the motorsport, you can connect with people who are speaking the same language. And that language is in this case motorsport, because that's the passion that we all share. That is important, I think, for the companies that we meet. What we see in general normally before COVID is that people on the paddock speaking with each other, talking with each other about anything they like. Some people are from completely different ways that they come from, but on the paddock we all share one thing, and that's racing. And we get very excited when we see those people talking to each other, and sometimes beautiful friendships will happen after that. And also business wise, it's interesting because social media is well, a marketing tool. It doesn't mean that you, well, a few people, influencers maybe, but I'm not an influencer. Social media doesn't bring me.
Yeah, Andre, let me you intrigued me for a few questions.
Okay.
And if any of the audiences would have a question, please put it in the Q&A so we can answer it. Now, you mentioned you have an opportunity to play for a lot of advertisements for a lot of companies around the world where it comes out. Now, the connect to the. I think we got Miguel with us. Miguel, can you go online? Miguel, can you access your video? Okay, he's working on. So what is the hot points, the passion points in the type of media or advertisement campaigns that you sell the companies to subscribe or to sponsor your car race driver?
Well, the race car driver, and like I said in the beginning, needs funding for his racing. So racing must be paid by sponsors, partners that we find. But for these partners, we can do a lot of things in return, much more than, like I said, in the old days. Nowadays, we can do much more than uh, 15, 20 years ago because, like I said, social media is important. The team does a lot of advertisement, and it is more than just a sticker on the car. It's a very complete package that we can offer. Not only the outings on the car, like we said. If we have, let's say, a big partner, then maybe the whole livery of the car. The livery of the car means that the colors of the car can be in the colors of a company who is one of the partners, and depending on how big this partner is.
What I meant, Andre. Do you, for example, do you sell the character of the car race driver for the campaigners? The charisma, the personality, the persona, or create a persona for the car race driver for the company, whether it's a shampoo alone, to subscribe to. So they are subscribing the personality that you create for them out of the car race driver.
Yeah, we say our drivers are the ambassadors for the companies we work with. So if they want to hire him or have him on an exhibition or whatever they want to do, or if they want to do commercials with the drivers we work with, then of course we can arrange that. So it's also that.
So so what you're talking about, you create a smart, dynamic personality out of the car race driver. How hard how easy was it to work with Miguel?
Well, very easy because Miguel is an outstanding, talented young driver. He's very eager. He also is eager to work with me to find sponsors himself. So it is a very nice person to work with. And I think for the partners that we have, he is already the ambassador of a few sponsors that we acquired. And yes, he and he will represent these companies on, like I said, exhibitions, in commercials, or other activities that they have for Miguel in this case.
Okay, let's talk. Let's see if Miguel can hear us, and hopefully he can come up on video with us. Miguel, can you hear us? Miguel, I can see him appearing, but I cannot see. He's not. Hello, Miguel.
I don't see him in the list.
He's on the left on the other list, the staff.
Okay. Okay.
As a co-organizer.
Okay.
Miguel, can you hear us? All right, you need to speak, Miguel.
Is your microphone on underneath in your screen?
And try to speak. Is having difficulties, but nothing.
Okay.
Refresh your page, please. Miguel, refresh your browser. Who are the major sponsor of Miguel so far?
At this moment, we have a sponsor from Switzerland. It's called Aerocode. It's a kind of booking.com company. Only this is for private jets and business seats that they sell all over the world. Yeah.
Why would they be interested in the car race driving sponsorship?
Well, a company like Aerocode is a company from Switzerland. Like I said, they started in 2019, if I'm correct. But they have a way back in the aviation industry. The people who are working there. Basically, it's a software company. It's a software related company, and their software allows us to or everybody who is working with them or flying with them to get the best prices available for businesses and for seats in private jets. Teams we work with, also customers, are flying all around the world with private jets from A to B. And Aerocode is a company who can find the best seats available for these people who are in the luxury, in the high class area. People who travel business class or private jet. People are actually looking for a company like Aerocode, and I must say they are really very successful in what they do. Especially now with COVID, because now we cannot all be packed in a plane. We see in the Olympics what's happening. So from the beginning that they started, and even with COVID, they are going up in sales. And their system, their software allows people to fly from A to B in the best possible way with the best connections.
Now, in marketing, it's with COVID-19, companies' priorities are shifting.
Yeah.
And before COVID-19, you were able to sell hype.
Yeah.
To companies. Now, what is the trick to market car race driving sponsorship to auto companies, or could it be possibly another another line of sponsors that could be more interested now with car race driving than the historic or traditional sponsors like Renault, Ferraris, Michelin's, and the likes?
Yeah. Well,
And what would
depends.
those companies be?
Well, it depends a little bit on in what market they are. What we have seen after COVID started, that software companies are going sky high because everybody is working from home, so they must facilitate every single connection, software, whatever. Even the way we speak now. Normally, we would be in a room together speaking to each other, but now we are speaking well like this. I must say it was always possible at least it was possible a couple of years ago already. But even me, I didn't use only Skype if I'm speaking with someone across the world. But also COVID forced us to look at things in another way. This is I always say the nice things about crisis. People are being forced to look in things in a different way than what they used to. And finding new ways is exactly what we are trying to do. The company that we work with, Aerocode, is one company who is successful because of COVID, because people don't want to be packed in planes anymore. They spend more money in private jets.
I'm one of those people that don't want to fly in planes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but it all depends on the market. I mean, we see in the hotel world, also in the aviation industry, big companies like Lufthansa, they have issues. Let me say it like that. I mean, COVID it's not good for those companies. So we are not focusing on those markets, but there are so many markets. Like I said, IT companies who develop software. I know that from 2008, when we had a crisis, WhatsApp came, and now it's one of the biggest companies in the world because everybody is using that. So it is a turnaround for some companies, and unfortunately, also for some companies, it is bad. I mean, really bad to have a crisis like it.
You know what I think is? I think there is a great potential for the software companies, like collaborative platforms. One like Identity Branding Forum, for example, that are trying to connect people from around the world with excitement, potentially. And I think we got Miguel with us on the phone. Anyway, so Miguel, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we got Miguel.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
we can hear you. We cannot see you, but we have to live with that today.
Well, at least you can hear me.
Okay, at least we can hear you. Now, if we got everybody excited to see Miguel Gasper, the car race driver, the young car race drivers, and we have been really chatting about some of the things that we have you. Now, you are a young man. What really triggered you to get involved into car race driving? Is it in the family, or is it just something that you looked up to, and one day you said, "I'm going to be a car race driver"?
Something that it's in my genes, I must say. I spent my youth watching my dad racing. He used to be a driver, racing on TV, races on TV. Also, I started to see races alive very at a very early age. So for me, it's natural that someday I would.
Age? How early is that?
5 years old. I started to go to the circuits, and and I think it was when I was 13 that I had the click that I had to do this, because it's natural to me, and I was born for it. So I tried to pursue my passion as soon as I discovered that I have to do this for my life.
How old were you when you sat behind the wheel?
I was 13 for the first time when I
13.
drove a go-kart. Yes.
Was it hard to convince your parents, or it was just naturally?
No, I think it was because after that we all knew that I had to go to championships to move forward, and that
13.
yeah, I started at that age, and when it all began, and I finished second immediately on my first race, starting from second as well. So yes, I always knew that I had to do this and to move and have the opportunities, the right ones, to allow me to pursue my dream and my passion.
What is the highest moment of your career ever since when you started to this day that you still remember, you cannot forget?
Well, first victory is always that moment, that very special moment, especially
Tell us,
because
tell us about it, please.
it was a very tough race, I must say, because it was a race against drivers, a lot of kilometers, a lot of experience compared to myself. I was a rookie,
Where
so
was that?
when
When and where was it?
it was here in Portugal, I was 14, and drivers were like 20 years older than me, the rest of the pack.
You were 14.
So
You were 14 against drivers that were 20 years older than you.
yes, like I mean, 30s, 40s. That's the average on that championship. Because we're drivers that used to race against my dad back then. So I went then to get up to speed as soon as possible. So and winning against all those drivers was really special because I knew the efforts I had. And after the race, I got a little sick, to be honest, because the nervous, to to lead a race and for so long, and yeah, I felt pressure at that time, to be honest. But it's something pressure. It's something you get used to in racing because it makes part. As soon as you wake up and go to the track, pressure is always there.
How
So, but
fast?
it's
How
natural.
fast? How fast did you go during that race when you are 14 years old?
I mean, how fast do you mean the KPH?
Yeah.
Oh, it's in go-kart, not much. Go-karts are slower
Okay.
compared to cars, but I mean 50, 60. It's the maximum that the time we can achieve.
Okay. Now let's go back. You started at the tracks of a go-karts. When did you move to the Le Mans?
It first I had some experience in Formula Renault because it's not easy to move from karts to LMPs, the Le Mans car, because you must have a knowledge of what is the car racing. So I had some experience in Formula Renault first, and then at the end of last year, I got the invitation to test the LMP3 car, a Le Mans prototype car.
Renault.
And sorry.
For the company Renault.
No, that was for the Baidas. Baidas, it's a manufacturer, a car manufacturer.
That's out of Brazil.
They are a French company, but they are located in Portugal.
Okay.
And they invite me to go to Algarve to develop the car as much as possible. Also, to have some experience in a such different car, and felt really good, to be honest. Such a beast.
Okay. Now, what is the lows of your career as a car race driver? What was
The lowest for me, it's always the races that I don't win, or I knew that I could be on podium, but for some reason I had an incident with some other driver, and for me that's the lowest because I know I have potential to do more, and if for some reason I cannot be where I wanted to be, it obviously it's for me it's a bad day.
how costly that those accidents to those vehicles when you see them on television? Those cars, they cost millions, right? How much a Formula One vehicle or a Le Mans cost?
Well, if you have a considerable impact in a Formula One car, for example, there are some millions to be spent on to put the car back again. I mean, 5, 4, depend, because each piece it's like a gold piece. It's very very expensive.
So an accident on the track cost your sponsors a lot of money.
Yeah, that's not a good. Let's say it's not good to be involved in crashes. The worst thing it can happen is that when somebody hits you and it's not your fault 100%, but you have to deal with that because makes part of racing and
But
nothing you can.
but that's part of the PR, Andre, don't you think, for car race drivers when you're trying to go
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
promotion?
yeah.
Yes,
But
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely right. But please don't mix up what we saw 2 weeks ago when Hamilton pushed off Verstappen in the F1. I mean, that was the big crash, and an LMP car is, I think, completely with engine around 1.3, 1.5 million. But normally, a team has first of all insurance. So not all the sponsors are paying the damage on the car. We also have insurance that's needed because we don't hope that something will happen. But if you crash a car and you wreck it, then an insurance will pay most damage on the car normally. If you crash a car, let's say every race, then we have another problem. But normally, if you crash, let's say one or maybe two cars in a whole season, then it is okay. But the money that we have from the partners, first of all, we use that money for Miguel to pay his seat, as we say it, because a team that we race with is asking an amount of money for one season, a little bit depending on in what series you are. LMP cars are quite expensive on a high level racing, so a seat for an LMP is for 5, 6, maybe 7 races is approximately around €350,000 for one season, excluding testing. So
Okay,
that gives you a little bit of an.
Miguel, for car race driving, just like any other sports, you need a lot of fitness, a lot of
yeah,
body conditioning, mental conditioning. Can you
exactly.
tell us about how does that go? For example, when do you start reconditioning yourself to get ready for a car race driving? And tell us about your daily activities to condition yourself, your diet, what you
Yeah.
eat, what you don't eat, what you are allowed to eat, what you are not allowed to do, anything, how early you have to sleep. Share with us, please. So it, maybe I want to be a car race driver instead of changing my career.
No, it is necessary to have an exercise for daily, like a daily routine. Make it part of your day to keep your body in shape. Not only exercise, but also nutrition. It's really, really important. Obviously,
How many hours of training a week before you get started, and how long do you start
an hour,
getting ready physically fit?
an average of an hour a day, it's enough. You don't need to push to be a Schwarzenegger, let's say that, but to have a minimum shape to be to have the most important parts of your body in a well condition, like your neck, your shoulders, all the back, front. It's really necessary. Arms as well. So it's more to keep a considerable daily routine of exercise each day. You obviously
What
have to do
about your
some
food?
breaks.
What about your food diet?
No, I wouldn't call it a diet, to be honest, but to have attention of what you eat. Not eat
Are you allowed to
too
eat
many
steaks, for example?
too many candies.
Too many steaks a week before the race, or you have to be physically healthy food?
Oh, it's yeah, you have to be, and also to pay attention to what you eat. It's really important to. It's not exactly a diet, but not go to not eat something that can makes you feel that you are a little fat or that you are not doing good
Now,
to your health.
now, Andre, you are his mom and dad, the manager,
Yeah,
to tell him what you are allowed to do, what time you have to go to sleep. Do you
yeah,
actually
yeah.
create an agenda for him, a schedule? And when does that schedule start? Does it start a week? Does it start 3 days before the event? The day before the
Well,
event?
we don't have an actual schedule, but we working. There is a routine that he needs to do. And like I said, he needs to be fit, so he needs to look at what he's eating, his fat percentage, what he has on his body, the muscles that he needs to work on to train. And it is for a race car driver, just like Miguel said, not necessary to be big like this, like a bodybuilder or something, but your muscles must be strong, and you must train that and keep your body fit, but not only the body, also reaction time that he must train on. So if you are in a race car, I mean, things are really going fast. I mean, I was a couple of times in a fast car myself, and if something happens, then you must immediately react and not spontaneous. And so you must have a very good reaction speed. So you must be focused on what you do. So the mindset and also the way people think must be okay. I give you one example. I was managing a driver a couple of years ago, and he was in a racing series where 37 cars were in. He became second in one race, so I congratulated him, and he was angry for me because he said, "Don't congratulate me with the second place. I want to win." So this is the mindset that these guys have. I mean, if I would be second, then I would be thrilled. I mean, that would be great for me. But this is not the mindset that these people have, and this is what I've learned also with the drivers that I'm working with. That they have only one goal, and that is the top of the podium, number one. Number two doesn't count. So
Is that the same for you? Is that the same for you, Miguel?
Yeah, it has to be, because if you arrive second, you are not happy because you felt that you could win. But also, for other hand, if you arrive on third place, you are more or less happy because you at least are on podium, and yeah, it can compensate a little bit. But obviously, like Andrei said, first place is the place we work for every day, basically, to arrive in first place, not only for the races but at the end of the year as well, championship.
I had a big idol when I was a young boy. That was Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna had a line. He said, "From the number two, the loser starts to come." So there's only number one, and everything after that is not important. So this is the mindset that these people have, and that is, I think, the winner's mentality, like we say. I mean, if you are okay with second place, that means that you have not the focus to be number one, and that is, I mean, I mean, accidents happen or whatever. I mean, you can end up number two, so, and then still you can have a good race. But if there is a chance with equal cars, and we are talking about race series with equal cars, so everybody has the same chance, same engine, same chassis, same tires, so everybody has the same chance to win a race. And if you win a race, then it is up to the driver to be successful. Of course, the team has a part of it, and the track or the circumstances that you're driving in. In the rain, it is, well, a lottery sometimes. But if the track is dry, then it is okay. But like I said, it is yeah.
How do you play from a marketing perspective, a brand perspective? If a car race driver who received hundreds of thousands and millions dollars got in the second place to the third place, what kind of an opportunities do you create for the sponsors to give them advantage, even not just of the win, but also of the loss?
Yeah, of course. But that
How do you compensate that off of the winning podium to the
well,
sponsors?
Well, to the sponsors, it is, of course, fantastic to win. But as long as the people that we work with are on the podium, so in the picture, that is for sponsors mostly important. So if they have if they have a picture of the race car driver on the podium, mostly they don't say if it is the first, the second, or the third place, but he's on the podium, or she. I mean, depending on.
But if he didn't make it on the podium, do you create any kind of events, activities that actually
Of course,
get the driver flashed in media?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and
What
we
do you
have
do?
incentives. Yeah, what we do is we have sponsor days, as we call it. We invite sponsors over to, next to the racing weekends, also to separate days that we are on track with the driver and with the sponsor. And then mostly the driver tells something about why he's a race car driver, like he does now. And on the other hand, the sponsors, our partners that we work with, tell something about why they are interested in them. And but basically, they have a fantastic day, mostly as a passenger in a race car. Sometimes they may drive a race car if they are allowed, but mostly they have a passenger seat available in the race car. And I can tell you from my own experience, to be next to a race car driver in a fast car, that is quite exciting. I can tell you that. And I'm not, well, I'm a little bit afraid.
Miguel,
Yes.
when do you expect your moment of fame hit the road and you will become the rising star that every company in the world wants to spend millions on? How far are you from that moment?
I think I'm
So close.
the far I am. I think it's a matter of signing a contract. I am, because it's all about having the right opportunities to show my potential, my talent, and like I used to say, I just want an opportunity to go to the track and show what I'm capable of, and this has always been my mindset. So
Nice. Now I think we all went over time a little bit because of the little technical difficulties we've had. We're gonna have another event. Hopefully, after we fix up this setup. Let's hear our audience if they have any questions. Please put in the Q&A. I've got some people have their hands raised. Let's see. No. But, any
Are
question?
there people who
I'm sorry.
are there people who want to are there people in our community at the moment who want to race or want to work in motorsport, or do they have questions about that?
Well, most of the people that are with us today are the interns who are actually been involved in our 20X and getting ready for the campaign. And we have got some people in business in tracking. Mr. Samir Abdelhadi with us. Vehicle tracking is on the likes, and he could potentially be one of those sponsors in the future for us. But do you have any closing remarks, Andre and Miguel, before we go off air this evening?
No. Yeah, what I would like to say is that everybody, thank you for your time and effort. Like I said, motorsport is a very, very exciting industry. It's a big industry, excitement. Please join us on track when the possibility is there, and then you can witness it with your own eyes and see what it is all about. And not only car racing, we're also involved in motor racing. So if there will be a chance in the future to meet or to have someone on track, please let us know.
I also would like to.
And Miguel, would we give them the opportunity to watch you on track in real time, on video time?
Yes, I hope so. And I also would like to apologize for this technical issue, but I will fix this and hope for the next time we go live, I can have my camera on. So
we look forward. Next time we will do a live testing, 30 minutes at least before we bring everybody on board.
Okay, good.
Thank you all. Thank you for the moment.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abed. And everybody.
We're excited to really get next time and how to really create those opportunities that we are all hoping for, inshallah. Thank you so much. Thank you, our audience. Have a great evening. Dubai time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Time,
thank you so much.
Malaysia time. We have people joining us. God bless.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Great day. Good day. Thank you.